So I'm going to show you how to plant some grapes, some hardy grapes, and these are the grapes that I have gotten the seeds from. And what I was doing at first was trying to get the seeds, like the cutting board, and that was taking a very long time to get the seeds out that way. And then I thought, well, I'll just take the seeds out of the juicer, because my juicer is, as you can see, it doesn't capture all the juice from the fruit. And so then I thought, well, I can put this through the strainer then, and then get the seeds from that, because it's not munching the seeds up too well. And then I thought, wait a minute, I have a use for that. So I'll talk about that in a minute. And so now I'm just getting the seeds from the grapes that didn't look so good. So they'll do great for planting though. And the use that I found for the juicer stuff is, once I squeeze out as much juice as I can, this was the green grapes, I just spread them out on the parchment and stick them in my oven with no heat, because my oven's a old gas oven and it's always warm in there. And then I dry it out. And this was a batch of purple grapes. And then I'll put that, or this, whatever, the dried out stuff in the coffee grinder and grind it into a powder. And that includes all of these little seeds that are in there. So, yeah, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So James decided he did want to eat the pancake, but I convinced him to have wild blueberries with honey to put on, and that's just my carrot juice cup, so it looks a little bit messy, but he won't mind that, because I just had it. Okay, so I'm relieved that he's having the blueberries and honey rather than, what am I caught on? That's so much fabric. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get caught on everything. So now I wanted to show you another awesome costume for wintry Canadian weather, and it's a clown costume. It's the best. I can fit in like my thickest snowsuit into this costume. It'd be warm as can be. I can wear big gloves and it'll look appropriate. And great big winter boots, sort of like clown shoes. So awesome. And this hat, I really should starch it. So whoever made it, it will stay up if I make it stay up like that, but not permanently. If I move around too much, it falls down. But what an awesome costume. I love it. And it's great for Canadian winters. So I'm having, let's see what kind of soup. Caraway anise tomato lentil soup. So it has sprouted lentils, and I don't remember what else in it. Tomatoes, certainly. It's still a little bit hot, so I'm going to wait. I'll plant my stuff first. So I'll squeeze, there's quite a bit more juice in here. I'll squeeze this out for James for later. And I guess I'll put it there. And I did gather just a few seeds for now, but I'll get the rest from here. And all I did was I took some moist peat moss, and it has a little bit of perlite in it, but it doesn't really matter. No, that shouldn't be in there. Okay, there's a couple other things in here that shouldn't be in here, like these leaves that blew in. So anyway, and then apparently I just put these on the top, and I don't know if this will work, because this is the first time that I've ever tried to plant grape seeds. So I just spread them out along the top, and I'm going to put more. I'm going to put all the ones that I can get from my compost colander before I put it out into the compost. And so everything gets used. So anyway, I give them a little bit of room, and I've made several of these trays that were gifted to me by the Salvation Army Furniture Depot when they gave me salads. Let's see what this one was. Oh, this one was for the chihuahuas. This one was chicken tacos. But I did eat the cabbage from it and the wrappy things.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. You're looking sharp.
Okay.
Yep, we just need to get you a proper clown costume so we can both match.
Yeah, I thought I dressed enough like a clown over it.
Yep, last year I wore my clown costume when I was clowning around in the garden doing something, so now I'm clowning around gardening this way.
Yeah, there you go.
So anyway, you just lay them on top, and then you, the directions that I ran across said to cover them up with newspaper. So what I'm doing anyway, I want to keep the moisture in. I don't want to be bothering with anything for a while, because they need a wet cold stratification period. So that will keep the moisture in, and I will cover them with newspaper first in the porch until the low temperature in the porch is too cold. And then I will put all of these trays inside my coolers, which will then moderate the temperature. So coolers will keep food cool, and they will keep food warmer, if that is what you want. And this is not food, but, well, sort of is. Anyway, so that'll work out. So then, after a wet cold stratification period, and depending on what you're growing, that probably varies, I don't know. But I'm going to leave them for about a month. And then, well, some of them I'll leave for 2 months because I planted them a lot earlier. And we'll see how that works out. I'll put a date on here and we'll see which ones work out best. And anyway, so then I'll bring them inside and grow them as normal. And then I'm supposed to put the newspaper on top without the lid on. And that'll keep them dark until the seeds germinate. And then once they germinate, then I take the newspaper off and grow them in the sunny window. So that's all. So until they get to the sunny window, I could grow them under my bed. Whatever. Just with the newspaper. Apparently they need some dark to germinate, but they don't like to be in the moisture. And I didn't have sand. The instructions that I read suggested sand, not peat moss. I don't know if moist peat moss versus moist sand will make a huge difference. We'll find out. I don't know, it might be the acidity of the peat moss might be too much, or it might stay not moist enough, too moist, whatever. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm just playing around, just clowning around in the garden, because that's what I do. I try things, and I don't get too worried if my clowning around in the garden experiences don't pan out. It's all fun. I love gardening. So anyway, now talking about this powder that I'm going to make out of this dried grapes that I've put in the oven, because I use my oven as a food dehydrator because it stays warmish all the time. So you can see it dried out really well. It works out really well as a food dehydrator for me. So I don't need to buy one of those Excalibur dehydrator. Yes, I would like one. Who wouldn't? But we're poor, and for now, gas stove works out pretty well. So anyway, once I grind that up, I'll put it in a container, and it should keep for quite a while. I've been surprised by how well the things keep when I dry them out like that. But if I become worried about it, if I try it and it's like, oh, this one didn't keep that well, I'll just put it in the fridge, or I'll just put it in the freezer and try it that way. Anyway, so another thing, I don't worry about stuff like that because it's all just, I learn as I go. So anyway, the way that I came up with this is I really want to be feeding the seeds to James because grape seeds are healthy, and he is drinking the juice right now because he has found that he does not really like eating these grapes because they are sour.
Do you eating these ones?
Well, you haven't been eating them.
The problem is when I eat them like that, it's slow and it burns my GERD.
Okay, well, for whatever reason, they have not been eaten.
Yeah, I know.
And so I am drying them. And years ago, I got this powder called, I think it was called IPC, grape powder. I don't know what it was. But anyway, the ingredient was grape in it and sugar. And I thought, dang, this healthy stuff that they mixed with sugar, and it had a high price tag on it. But I really wish that they wouldn't have had the sugar in there. And so I thought, well, if I make it myself, it won't have the sugar in it. So I drying this out, I'll grind it up, and then I can put a little bit, maybe a quarter teaspoon in every smoothie or in a juice, and mix it up. And that should be healthier, right? Yeah. Or I could put it in whatever. I could put a little bit in James's pancake, and he wouldn't even know it was there. So that's my idea anyway. We'll see if it works out. Do you have anything to talk about?
Not really.
Okay.
I think it's probably best for us to repair inside, because there's a few flakes of snow coming down on it.
Yep.
So, and I'm not.
It is late October.
Not dressed for the weather. So.
Yeah.
And I had a cough. So.
Well, your big coat is in the basement. I washed it. It's
No,
dry,
thank you
and
for
it's
doing
ready
that.
to-
Yeah, I didn't know that. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I would have worn it.
Yep. But anyway, I was talking earlier about protein with James's pancake and my chai, which didn't have much of anything. I make my soups most of my soups, not all of them. Most of them are sprouted lentils, because I find lentils are easy to sprout, and my system likes them. My body likes to eat lentils. My body does not like to eat kidney beans. So James likes kidney beans, so sometimes I make him kidney bean things.
I'm not a big fan of kidney beans, but I like beans. The idea of them, at least, even if I don't know the taste. Those are the big ones.
Kidney beans are the red.
Oh, I
you
like those. I keep forgetting.
Yes.
I'm mixing up all
He
the
likes
lines. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those. The fact is, I like them even less than chickpeas. But chickpeas are, if I mash them up and mix them like with potatoes or something else, then
No, I
they're
love
okay.
lima beans. I'm the one who likes those, and you don't like those.
I'm not a big fan, but again,
They're just so big and beautiful.
yeah, it's just I don't like the kind of like the taste mixed with the texture. But again, I think that if I had them with potatoes and mashed them up into the potatoes, they'd be perfectly fine.
What a good idea. Mashed potatoes made with, or it could be, instead of potatoes, it could be mashed beans, and you just stick some gravy on them.
Mashed beans would be awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be a way of, if you got a can of, Boston baked beans or whatever, it'd be a way of actually getting something healthy into it, without, and being able to eat it all. But it would go well with yams. Even yams are even tastier. Potatoes really aren't that tasty.
So maybe mashed yummy potato-y, but not with the potato, but with the lima beans. I'll try it for James that way.
Like with chickpeas. So chickpeas, I found
Yeah,
go
James
really
hates chickpeas.
Well. I'm not a big fan.
No.
But they go really well with baked potato, right? Just mash them into the baked potato. There's a little bit of a taste from, I kind of like the skins of baked potato. Not sure if everyone does. Most people probably don't. But I kind of like it. And the funny thing is, when you put those chickpeas in there, you're not craving butter on it or anything like that. It's just another. I think potatoes tend to be so bland. People want the butter on it, or something tasty, some sort of fat or oil. But I find that with the chickpeas in there, all of a sudden there isn't a bad taste, but there's a different texture in the potatoes. There's just a bit more of a taste, and it's a pick-me-up for the potatoes, and it makes the chickpeas more palatable. So it's almost like a win-win situation.
So those blueberries were picked by my grandma
Awesome. Yeah.
in northern Alberta
To go on the
on your pancake.
pancake.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I'd better get inside before I get out. Too much of a chill.